Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse Sports Vibes TV pregame show. Quis, welcome, brother. Good
How's
to see
everything,
you, man.
George? How you doing?
I'm doing okay. I've been very much under the weather. This is actually the very first day that I actually feel at all somewhat alive. It took a lot out of me to get this going and to even do the recap the other day, which was brutal. That was brutal.
Yeah, I feel for you.
Man, drank a lot of coffee and tea. Got up here and had to talk about one of the worst losses I think I've ever seen. Honestly, from a team that scored 135 points on their home floor. Crazy.
Yeah, it was tough to watch.
I know you probably have you talked about it on your stream or whatever. But if there's any other thoughts before we get into it, just to thank everybody for watching this. Sorry, a little out of it here. Thanks for tuning in. Again, if you haven't subscribed to our channels, please do so and hit the thumbs up button for us. Definitely that helps us. And drop your comments when you get a chance. Even afterwards later on, and anything that comes up in your thought process, let us know what's something we may have overlooked. And so today we're going to talk about as much news as possible. I mean, a lot of things have happened. We've heard about this players only meeting being called by Julius Randle. So we're going to discuss that. We're going to discuss Ian Begley's report about Tom Thibodeau's seat becoming warm. And then we're going to preview we're going to talk about the 5-game West Coast road trip that's coming up. And then we're going to finish talking about the Utah Jazz game itself. But first, before that, we get to that, Keith, hand it over to you to discuss the latest debacle of these Knicks.
Yeah, it was definitely a hard game to watch. You saw you saw the lack of defensive intensity from a lot of guys out there. You know, there were some positives. It wasn't a complete dumpster fire, but it was pretty close. I mean, we saw Cam, who was great that game. He was one of the only players out there that showed some defensive integrity. Offensively, he was firing on all cylinders as well. He was able to knock down the three, he was able to take it to the basket aggressively. He even had a nice mid-range that he was able to knock down. So I'm extremely excited about that. But outside of that, it's very few positives to really pull from. You had RJ Barrett, him getting benched after a solid performance in the previous game. You've got Jalen Brunson, our $100 million man, him getting benched as well. And the fact that they got benched for a guy in Evan Fournier. So it was just a complete dysfunctional use of the rotation, I would believe, by Tom Thibodeau. So that was extremely unfortunate. And the head of the snake, Julius Randle, we saw a lot of the same lack of intensity defensively that we can liken to what we saw last season. And I think if this team is going to be able to rebound, it's definitely going to have to pick it up on defense. You can't go out there and let the Oklahoma City Thunder shoot the way that they did. What did they shoot? 60%, over 60% from the field,
something like
almost 55% from three. I mean, it's going to be virtually impossible to beat a team when you're allowing them to be that efficient. And the reason they were that efficient is the fact that they had free lane to the basket, and we showed no resistance, and we gave no resistance on three-point shots. So that's something that the Knicks are going to have to work on heading into this game, or they're going to be heading back to the East Coast at the end of this swing without a head coach.
Well, there you heard it. Someone may not be coming back. That's it's kind of the feeling that I got from this. I think I don't disagree with Julius calling a players-only meeting. I think something had to be done. I think it's ironic that he did. The most ironic part is that he still considers himself the best player on this team.
Or the leader.
The leader. He considers himself the leader on this team. The guy who did this to us considers himself a leader to this team. That shows to me there's something deeply flawed in that locker room, and I think it starts from the coach. The coach he has made this team so Randle-centric. It makes no sense when you consider RJ Barrett is now our highest paid player. He's our highest draft pick since Patrick Ewing. By all accounts, he's also 22. He is the future. By all accounts, this should be his team. Brunson should be his, if RJ's the admiral, Brunson's the general, whatever, and Randle, he's a major. He's
Falls
up
in
there.
line.
Yeah, but he's definitely not the guy. He's not gonna, unless he called everyone together to say, "Hey, my bad. I've been trash on defense. I love getting back. I don't run out to 3-point line. I don't in transition off steals." Yeah,
Non-existent.
Yeah,
No effort.
why bother going back to try to intimidate the shooter? Try to block the shot. What's the point? If he's apologizing for all of that and saying he's going to change all of that, then that's great that he called a team meeting. But if he called a team meeting to try and spread the blame around like some warm butter over some toast, trying to cover every single edge, then this is going to be a disastrous trip. What's your feelings about this players only meeting, Quis?
Well, to me, it's a bad sign for Tom Thibodeau and his tenure here. I mean, if Julius Randle did call the meeting, you hope he was able to, have some accountability himself. Because if you look at the film, he really didn't show much effort out there on a lot of plays, and I think it really helped the Oklahoma City Thunder get advantage offensively and help, be as efficient as they were during that game. But with Thibs, you look at his tenure elsewhere, it usually leads to a team meeting, and right after that, you see him get let go. So for me, I think it's a bad sign for a Tom Thibodeau. And honestly, I think it's the same kind of moment. Film. George, you would know. You're into film. You're a director and whatnot. So it's that point in the movie where something just happened, and you kind of sit up in your seat a little bit because the climax is about to come. For me, this is that moment. The fact that they're calling this team meeting because they clearly know they're as Clyde was saying, in disarray and have to try to get back on track. So we got to see how they're going to respond to this moment. And to me, that's going to be the biggest key to the key to Tom Thibodeau's future. Are they going to rebound and actually play well following this team meeting? And you might see Tom Thibodeau survive this stretch. But if not, if we continue to see a performance like we saw against the Nets or a performance like we saw against the Thunder, then he's going to be finding his own way home from the West Coast.
Yeah, what you're referring to in terms of in films and movies, because we've all watched so many of them. It's ingrained in us. We may not know exactly what it's called, but Blake Snyder, who wrote a book called Save the Cat, in there he broke it down, and what that is I think what you're referring to is the dark night of the soul. It's that last where things are at their worst, their gloomiest, and the hero goes on a walk to contemplate his life or her life and try to figure out what went wrong. And then there's the flashbacks, and then he's like, oh, I got to do this. So the team meeting is the attempt. So maybe the flight there was the dark night of the soul. And then calling the team meeting was like the response to this. And then we'll see how this whole last act turns out. Yep. Yeah, it's funny. Someone tweeted out the last time Knicks players called a players only meeting, Fizdale was fired like hours later. Yeah. Now, I now that's not necessarily accurate in terms of last time they called the players only meeting. I think the Knicks have had players only meetings since then. They just didn't result in someone getting fired, but that did happen that one time when the Fizdale firing. Shout out Lex the Destroyer. Thanks so much, brother, for holding it down for us. Best mod around. You've dropped this in there. His comment: wonder if Julius picked up the check. Bro, he better have.
Yeah. His extension kicked in, didn't it?
Yeah, this is his first year of his contract. Oh. Yeah, he better have. Yeah. How would you feel? Like, let's say you're. I want you to play the role of RJ. Now, we've heard some things that RJ has said, actually, and I'll read them. But you know how RJ is. His best quality is dealing with the media, by far. Just reading it from a Steve Popper article from Newsday. He said here, he was quoted, "We've got to lock it in," RJ Barrett said. "It was good to have a team dinner like that. Try to figure this out as best we can. We all care. Trying to get this going on the right track. I've seen a team like Boston, who I think we had a better record than for a while last season, and wound up in the finals. So a lot of things can change. A lot of things can happen. That's why it's 82 games. Now, that's what he said to a reporter.
Yeah.
But what do you think he really felt sitting there at that dinner?
Honestly, he probably was wondering why Julius Randle was the one to call it. If I was in that locker room, honestly, especially if you're watching the film, Tom Thibodeau's always saying the fans don't necessarily watch the game 2-3 times. You have to assume the players are watching the game 2-3 times. And if they saw the type of effort that Julius Randle was putting out there on the court in that game, then they should, if they're hearing he's calling a meeting, it better be to apologize, because he came into this season saying that he was going to be, it was a turning over a new leaf. It's going to be a new version of Julius Randle. And we all expected him to buy in and actually try to commit himself to playing defense and giving his all out there on the court. And we haven't seen that in some of the few games. So if I'm RJ Barrett, I'm trying to sit there and see if this guy's a bunch of, is he being a phony and just calling this meeting to try and act like he's trying to right the ship? Or is he someone that's being genuine in this moment and actually owning up to some of his own faults to a point where other people in that group or other people on the team can actually own up to their, faults as well? So if I'm RJ Barrett, that's probably how I'm feeling. It all depends on how the meeting actually went.
Yeah, I'm curious. I agree with that. I wonder if RJ was able to show a little bit of leadership in that team, in that meeting, by trying to basically not let Julius off the hook on this. Or maybe it was Brunson. I mean, somebody had to. I mean, Julius's defense is downright atrocious. I'm looking at, and I wish I had this, I should have screenshot this for you guys. Looking at the 538, his Raptor scores. Right now, since the 2015-16 season, Julius Randle is having his worst defensive year. His worst. He's only had 1 year where his overall Raptor defensive score was over 0. And that was the All-NBA year, 2020-21. And he was a plus 2.1. And that's actually what made that year really special for him. His offensive Raptor was only a 0.4, plus 0.4. He's had slightly better. Yeah, the 2018-19 was a better offensive year, according to Raptor. And the 17-18 season as well. They were the only other plus seasons. But his plus 2.1 defensive Raptor score, that's his best. All the other ones are underwater. And this year, he's a minus 4.7. More. Oh my God, he's a plus minus. Wow. In 2016, 2017, he was a minus 4.2 with the Lakers. He's back to worse than that. And when you think about those first few games of this season where he looked good.
Yeah. I thought he was going to be on his redemption tour.
Yeah.
And back to the same old.
To be a little fair to Julius, how much do you think? I mean, even so, it's not an excuse, but not having Mitch out there, do you think it's hurt him the most of all? Which is ironic, I think, if it's true.
It definitely, I don't know if it hurts him the most. It might maybe hurt some of the guards a little bit more, like a Jalen Brunson or even an Evan Fournier when he's out there. But it definitely hurts because you see when he's unable to recover, it pretty much gives whoever he's defending an open lane to the basket. At least when you have Mitch there, you have that last line of defense to at least contest and maybe, force a bad decision by, the offensive player. But without Mitch there, you have Hartenstein, and it has really exposed him defensively, and shows that he doesn't necessarily, protect the paint the way a guy like Mitchell Robinson does. So I don't know. I don't know if Julius Randle was the most affected, but you definitely see the loss of Mitchell Robinson when he's not out there on the court.
Definitely. One thing that's underrated when it comes to defense is the mental part of it, knowing who's on the court against you. Like if a Rudy Gobert's out there, you're gonna be really thinking about what shots you're gonna be taking. Same thing with Mitch. Even if you beat your guy and Mitch is out there anywhere near the paint, you're gonna have to contend with Mitch. And that's exactly. And that's disruptive for the offensive player trying to make the bucket. But when they know that it's Randle or Hartenstein out there are the final two, even though Hartenstein's a decent shot blocker, decent rim protector, he's nowhere near the level of Mitch. I feel it just emboldens offensive players, it gives them even more confidence. And so they perform even at a higher level than they normally would. Even if Mitch wouldn't necessarily have blocked that shot, just being out there.
I mean, look at Lou Dort. What was Lou Dort? 8 of 11 in that game?
Yes.
He's not even a 40% shooter in his career, let alone 8 of 11. That was ridiculous.
That was crazy, man. Yeah, that was crazy. Let's go to let's look at some stats here I pulled together. And shout out to Mr. John Macri of Knicks Film School, because he focused on this in his newsletter this morning, and I was definitely gonna show this, but he, shout out to him because he was the first one to put this out there, and I love the job that he did. You guys should check it out if you haven't seen it. So he was talking about the on-off stats, just really, yeah. And to me, these are the most important stats when you look at the way a team works together with certain players on the court itself. These are the on-off stats on cleaning the glass. These are team efficiency and the 4 factors. This is looking at comparing when the players on the court, what happens to the team defensively, when the players on the court, what happens to the team offensively, and then the differential and expected wins. I hope you guys can see this. I'm going to try and make it a little bigger right now. And we're going to go with, here, I guess I'm going to have to hide this, Keith.
It's all good.
There we go. All right, so the first one here, this is the column. It's the second column from the left that has the color band here, which has Cam Reddish points per possession on offense. Cam Reddish is a 93rd percentile, which means it's in the top 93rd percent of the players in the game, which is where you want to be. That's excellent. He's a plus.
It means extend him.
It totally is. Oh, he Cam gets paid. Cam keeps playing like this. He's getting paid. There's no doubt about that. But look at him. When he's on the court, the offense is a plus 12.6 points better per 100 possessions than when he's off. That's awesome. Number 2, RJ, 8.0 with all his struggles, his inconsistent shooting, all of that, still plus 8. Number 3, Randle, 76 percentile, a plus 6.8. Then Brunson, plus 5.1, and Hartenstein, plus 2.1. Those are the current starters. Offense is not the problem with this team. What? When was the last time we ever said that, Keith, about a Knicks team?
It's been some time. Definitely been some time.
It's been some time. Offense is not the problem. Wow. Well, it's apparently it's not. Scored 135 points against OK. Not that OKC is a defensive, tremendous defensive team, but still, that's pretty impressive.
Yep.
All right, let's get back to this. So you can see offensively, just to give, and I put that up first because I want you to see that Julius definitely has been doing. He's been contributing in a positive way to the offense itself. But
they're passing that propaganda tweet of what he's done in his the last 5 games.
Yep.
Yeah, that's circulating. But once again, it's not about the static accumulation. It's about the effort and what he's giving up defensively.
Yeah. And I tweeted out a response to that, and I said, stats can be deceiving if you don't look right. They tweeted out his stats. Randle over the last 5 games is averaging 26 points per game, 9.2 rebounds per game, 3.2 assists per game, 50% field goal, 44% 3-point shot, 83% free throw shot. Yeah, his offense has been good, has been really good has been great the past 5 games. But during that stretch, Knicks gave up 121.8 points per game during that stretch, which was the worst in the entire NBA. And Julius Randle's defensive rating is 126.5 during those 5 games, which is the worst amongst all New York Knicks starters. So, yes, definitely that is misleading. Now, let's look at the next one. Let's look at what happens defensively on this team. All right, so now it's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th column with the colored bars right here. Points per possession for defense. Number 1, Emmanuel Quickley. Emmanuel Quickley has become our Charles Oakley on this team.
That's saying a lot.
That's saying a lot. He's our Oak. He's he's 99 percentile. I mean, I guess, if it was minus 16.5, he'd be 100%. He's in the top of all guards, combo guards in the NBA in terms of defense. Obi Toppin is number 2 with a minus 9.3. So that means, just recap it in case you missed it earlier, and if you get any orange colors, that means it's good. It's fantastic. It means while he's on the floor, per 100 possessions, the defense scores 9.3 points less than when he is off the court. So Obi Toppin, D Rose minus 8.4, which is kind of odd, shocking, but it is what it is. Remember, this scrubs out garbage time. Hartenstein, minus 4.0, 67. Mitch, minus 1.2, 55. And then it comes down. Then we see our guy, the defensive stopper, Evan Fournier.
Oui.
And then Brunson right below, which is to be expected. We didn't expect Brunson to be a defensive guy at all, of course. And below that, we have RJ Barrett. So and then Cam plus 5.0. So, but the thing is, Cam, when Cam's on the court, the offense is so much better. So yes, and again, you are tied together with the people that you're sharing
with
the
your
court
unit.
With. Yeah, with your unit. So he's a plus 5.0, but below him is RJ plus 8.2, which those are terrible numbers. The Cam one, 28 percentile, it's bad. It's bad, but okay. 12 percentile is terrible. But Julius Randle, there he is, holding it way down with a plus 14.7 points for a 2 percentile.
You're looking for a defensive anchor? There you go.
There it is. That. And now we go to this is the most fun stat. It's the first column all the way on the left, the differential. So this is the key stat for on-off. When Quickley's on the court, the team overall is a plus 8.8 points better, and that passes the eye test, right?
Yep.
I mean, when you see him, the team just looks different. Same with Cam. Team just looks different when Cam's on the court. Hartenstein, offensively, excellent. D Rose, still kind of a little bit of a head scratcher, but is there? The stats don't lie. Look at Obi, plus 3.6. And then it starts getting a little disconcerting. Brunson overall is a plus player for us, even though he's in the 50th percentile because he's a point guard, still a plus 2.1. The team outscores the other team by a plus 2.1 when he's on the court, all possessions. Now we get into the minus. RJ's a minus 0.2. It's almost an even. Then Mitch, a minus 3.8. Randle, a minus 8.0. And Fournier down at the bottom, a minus 11. So Randle is right there with our guy, Evan Fournier.
At the bottom. And he's also played the second most minutes. What? Now that I've thrown these stats at you just a few minutes ago, so take a little bit to absorb it. Is there anything just off the top of your head that this kind of shouts at you? Well, a lot of it matches the eye test. You know when Emmanuel Quickley and Cam Reddish are out there on the court, the team looks like there's a little bit more pep in their step, especially defensively. So to see that they'll be on the top of this list when it comes to the differential really doesn't shock me. And when you look at some of the defensive numbers, you saw that the entire starting unit, for the most part, they were kind of at the bottom of the ranking, and that's true with the starting unit out there on the court. You see that they're very leaky, allowing people to get open looks and also get free range, free drives to the basket. I mean, you don't see it as much with the second unit. There still are some issues defensively at times with that second unit, but you really don't see it as much. The discrepancy between what the starters are able to do out there on the court and what the bench unit is able to do is glaring, and it's reflected in a lot of these on-off stats.
Yeah, these starters definitely defensively are weak. They're definitely weak. They definitely miss Mitch, that's for sure. But to me, this is indicative of, yes, obviously effort is definitely a major issue. Fournier, but the thing is, Fournier, we've seen this already. We've seen this movie, this sequel. This is Jaws 2. There was nothing new here. We knew that he was this.
And yet he closed the game.
Yet he played more minutes than Obi and Grimes the last game. During a game where a team scored 43 points in back-to-back quarters and ended up scoring 145 points, your worst defender played more minutes than two guys put together who are considered, Grimes,
the future,
and Obi considered the future, and who are much better defensive players. I mean, that's bad on Mitch on Thibs. That's bad on Thibs, man. But
George, you mentioned it a little while ago that we gave up 43 points in back-to-back quarters. What do you think what the message was at halftime for them to go up, give up 43 points? What do you think Thibs said to them? And then to go out there and give up 43 points again? Not 44, not 42, but 43 points once again. I'm pretty sure Thibs said we can't allow them to score 43 again, and boom.
Yeah, I can see. On
your head top.
Hey, look, if you guys can repeat the 43, tacos on me tonight.
It's like one of those. If they hit the home team hits all the free throws, you get something free. You guys drop 43 again, we're gonna get something. Everybody at the Garden, something nice.
This to me, this shouts that your defensive scheme is wrong. It's old. This idea that you can just give quality 3-point looks to any NBA team and hope they miss because we're going to guard that paint like, the way a mother tiger, guards her litter. It doesn't. Without Mitch there is no mother tiger to guard that rim. There really isn't. I mean, Sims gives you a little bit of it, but he doesn't play that much. Hartenstein gives you some of it, but he's not the Mitch type level.
Doesn't have that same impact.
Yeah. There's definitely a flaw in the defensive scheme. You can't be so obsessed with guarding the paint and allow good quality looks to mediocre 3-point shooters in this league, because mediocre 3-point shooters become very good 3-point shooters when there's no one in front of them.
Nope, this is not 2005. This is not 2006. This is the Steph Curry era.
Yeah.
Everybody came up shooting the deep three.
I can still go out there and hit 4 or 5 in a row, 3-pointers. And I'm an old fuck. If no one's in front of me. You put someone in front of me. I mean, I hit one for like 20 shots. But still, when you get clean looks and then you get in your groove, you start feeling good about yourself, and it becomes infectious. So that's just, to me, that's a clear sign that the game has passed Thibs by.
Especially that defensive scheme. Because remember, when Thibs was coming up, you really didn't have the big stretch in the court like that. So the way that defense is schemed up, you are really allowing yourself to be, beat over the head by bigs that can stretch the court, give you more spacing out there, and can knock down the shot. So with Thibs, he's kind of married to his system. We really haven't seen him make any adjustments. And I think that's why we're in the position we are right now. He hasn't been able to dial up a defensive game plan that maximizes the talent he has on the roster. He needs players that fit, quote unquote, his system. And I think we've seen time and time again, when you are that rigid and trying to create a program, it usually doesn't work or enter the championship.
Yeah. Oh, shit. I was going to ask you something and it totally blanked on my head. But shout out to the chat. We got over 120 in the chat. Thank you guys for joining us. Salute. Let's see who we got who's joined us here. Cap Giggles, Calvin Edwards. There's our guy. We survey 100 people.
There we
Knicks
go.
starting 5. Jalen Brunson, Cam Reddish, R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, Isaiah Hartenstein. So there wasn't a change in the starting 5. It was kind of teased a little bit. Steve Popper tweeted that out.
What do you think the change would have been?
I have no idea. Other than
there's not too many options, honestly. You're not going to bench Brunson. You're not going to bench RJ. Cam has been solid. And then
the only I could think of, would be Obi. Obi, they go small. And then Thibs must have chickened out.
That would have been a shocker.
You know, I did a screen grab. I lost it. I was going to put this up, but then I was thinking, you know what? I can't verify it or whatever. But someone tweeted out, someone who's, you know, somewhat respectable, who is respectable. Sorry, I don't want to say they're not respectable, but someone tweeted it out. I just can't verify it. That reason that, or maybe someone sent me this on Twitter, which I appreciate you guys sending me stuff on Twitter and everything. It's great. One of the reasons that Thibs doesn't do small ball is because Julius hates playing the 5. It's not a matter of whether it's good or bad for the team. It's a matter whether it's good or bad for Julius.
Yeah, I heard there were rumblings about that Julius Randle wasn't really a fan of playing the 5, but I think that I heard more of that about a year or two ago.
Well, guess
I haven't heard that recently.
What? I'm not a fan of getting my ass up to go to work either in the morning.
But you got to do it.
I got to do it. You want this team to win, so you're cool with having, and also we got to talk about Obi, man. I think there's something happening with Obi that Knicks fans just don't know what to do with. This is I'm going to put this out there to you. Get ready, chat. Get ready. It's been so long since the New York Knicks had a player of their own that they drafted and developed that popped, that we don't know what it looks like. RJ gave us a tease last season. Not a tease. He did it. But it came with some very, very painful efficiency. If he had done what he did last season with some decent efficiency, we'd be ecstatic. It would have been an unqualified level up, an unqualified pop. But instead, it's very much has asterisks. And then he's carried it over to this year, that inefficiency. We have never seen a player of, Patrick Ewing, yes. But since him, that's actually pop. So Obi.
Well, we've seen a little bit with KP, but the injury bug
took
KP. That from us.
KP, but the injury took it from us.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it. So we got the captain, Patrick Ewing, KP, RJ gave us a little bit, but who else?
Not really. I mean, think about it. We haven't re-signed anybody since Charlie Ward. So how long ago was that?
And we are impeding Obi's potential to pop in his 3rd season by having him come off the bench playing behind Julius Randle. There is a chance that Obi Poppin could already be averaging 24 a game right now with some sweet efficiency, playing some good defense. Great defense? No, he's not a great defender, though the stats say otherwise. But it's happened. But we can't see it. And the rest of the NBA can't see it either, which is why we can't get true value for our young players.
Yep.
And whose fault is that?
Tom Thibodeau.
There's a chance that Obi Toppin could really be the best player on this team. There's a very realistic chance that that's possible. His size?
I won't say no, but
yeah.
I don't know about all that. I'd love to see it happen, but it'll be hard for it to really materialize here with the Knicks until we get rid of Julius Randle. And with the way things are dysfunctional here right now, it's going to be hard to actually move off of Julius Randle and get some realistic compensation for him.
And that's the next topic I want to talk about. Getting rid of Julius Randle. I was hoping that was the something else might happen in Ian Begley's report. I need to rest my voice for a little bit, but Quis, if you can take over and take us through that whole Ian Begley story, just recap it for us.
Well, from what I've heard, Ian Begley reporting that there has been some rumblings behind the scene that Tom Thibodeau, if this team has continued to pack up the embarrassing losses, that they could decide to move on from Tom Thibodeau, which is something that we heard heading into the season. If things were to go left, there would be some heads to roll. But then he also said, it could either be the firing of the coach, and quote unquote, or something else. And we were trying to figure out what that or something else could. It be him firing the entire front office? We've seen him do that before with the Rangers, so it's not something that you can rule out with James
Mid-season?
Dolan. Not mid-season. I think he did it at the end of the season, but
Yeah.
it kind of caught everybody off guard.
I remember that one.
They,
And it worked.
It did work because they're doing their thing now, but they were starting to get better. You saw some progress at least with the Knicks. Everything has been regression from that first season. So it wouldn't shock me if they do move on from the front office. That could be the or something else. And you mentioned that it could even be Julius Randle. For me, it's hard to think that the or something else could be Julius Randle, because I think if they really had a legitimate offer that they could trigger and say, all right, let's pull a deal, I think they would have done that already. So for me, hopefully that or something else is shipping a guy like Julius Randle out of town and trying to free up the minutes for a guy like Obi Toppin, because I think something like that could kind of turn around the forecast of this season. Because I think if you do take Julius Randle out and you don't see that lack of intensity defensively, and you got a guy like Obi Toppin in there, how they push the pace. It's a lot of energy when Obi's out there on the court. Even if we do end up losing games and aren't as competitive as we thought we would be in the start of the season, at least there's hope that we're building and we're cultivating the young guys, and maybe that we can either package them and move them for another guy that becomes available. I know there's a lot of rumbling saying SGA. I'm not sure he'd be willing to come here after he just mollywopped us, but there could be other options for us if we're able to get the most, get some more out of these guys and actually start to build some sort of culture in here that other players might want to join, or other, GMs might want to take from.
I think the Knicks, they took a gamble, Quis. They gambled because they wanted to move on from Randle. They wanted to at some point. They were like, wait, we can't get the value. Let's see. Maybe he'll straighten it out, and he'll fit in better next season. Or maybe he'll just be good enough. We can get something for him. Maybe another team that's competing, their power forward goes down and they need somebody. They're desperate. Look, man, Leon, if you really think Julius Randle's going to save your fucking job, you're lost, brother. This is the reason we're in the state we're 6-7, but we are 3-6 since those first few games. We cannot beat. We lost to Atlanta, terrible loss. The Nets, humiliating. We had one of the most discouraging wins I've ever seen against the Pistons. What are we talking about? what is? I mean, we've shown that Randle's offense he's having a very good offensive year. Ship him to a team that needs a power forward that can score, that can somehow absorb his defensive deficiencies.
And add somebody to a team where there's not a question as to who the leader is, because if you ship him to a team where there's no question as to who's running the show in the locker room, maybe he falls in line. Right now, you look at this team, it's a young team for the most part. We do have some sprinklings of vets, but for the most part, it's a young team. So you look at Julius Randle, seems like he's the type of personality that can kind of be abrasive for the most part. So there might be guys in that locker room that really don't want to challenge him too much. So if that's the issue, let's try and get that out of the locker room, send him to another team that's trying to compete and play for a championship. And hopefully then things will change in the locker room. But as of right now, trying to, do the same things with the same head coach, do the same things with virtually the same roster is pretty much the definition of insanity.
It's madness. It's madness. Shout out to JD. He said, you guys see the tweets about the rotation being shortened tonight? I did not see that. I just saw that there might be a change in the starting unit, and then we saw that they're putting out the same 5. But if anyone has seen those, drop it in the chat. That'd be great. Shout out to JD. What's up, brother? Shout out to everybody. Nub, 2E Sniper, UPG, Kareem Grant. Good to see you, brother. I do wonders. Thibs going senile. That's a good one.
You can tell by the bed.
Yeah, I will be doing a post game recap at the end, which you guys will watch when you wake up in the morning.
Who tweeted it out? I'm trying to see if I can pull it up.
Yeah, if you can find that'd be great. Maybe JD can text it to us. All right, let's get to let's preview the next 5 games. So this is the West Coast road trip here. Sorry about this, guys. So tonight we have the game against the Jazz. Then tomorrow's the Nuggets, and we caught another lucky. Oh, that's another thing. The one team of quality that during that stretch that we beat was the Sixers, and they didn't have Embiid or Harden.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we talking about? That 6-7 record is so deceptive. Don't get fooled by that. So here we have Jokic is out tomorrow. COVID protocols. So we got lucky.
Dodged the bullet again.
Yeah.
Who else was out because of COVID protocols when we played them? What was it?
Rudy.
There we go. Gobert.
Yeah, Rudy Gobert
against Mitty, and that was a victory.
Mm-hmm. And then we have Friday the Warriors. They're going to be up for that. I wonder if my son will go to that game. See if he'll go. Sunday we got the Suns, which we know we always play great in Phoenix. And then to OKC to try and get revenge.
Yep.
There is a good chance. There is a very good chance. Well, now that Jokic, the Joker's out.
Jokovic.
The Joker is out of that game. We may not come back 0-5, but a 1-4 return. I think that's the end for Thibs.
Even 2 or 3, depending on how you lose those 3 games, you can make an argument on moving on.
Yeah. I can still see them, kind of talk themselves into keeping them with a 2-3, no matter how they did it, But 1-4, 0-5, there's just no justifying it. And especially if the one win in a 1-4 is the Nuggets because Joker didn't play. Wow. So I'm not as hopeful here, but we never know. Player only meetings sometimes do have a good afterglow. It doesn't necessarily last. But
I wish somebody kept a tally. Like after a team meeting, what was the record for that team for the following season?
That'd be great.
That'd be a pretty interesting stat.
We would need a really good detective to figure that stuff out. Sometimes teams have meetings and we don't know. We hear about it later.
Well, the public meetings, the ones that come to the surface, because they usually come to the surface for a reason. They're out in Phoenix. Who the hell is out there? Are they stalking the Knicks to find out they had a team meeting? That got leaked because somebody wanted it to be leaked.
Yeah,
let's be honest.
Yes, I think so. Well, with the Knicks, it's different. We have so much, there's so much attention on this franchise that it's hard to kind of fall through the cracks. But like the Celtics, apparently last year, after that dramatic shot by RJ that crushed the Celtics, they had a meeting. I think it was on a bus or something. It wasn't like necessarily they went out to dinner, but they a tete-a-tete. They all got together and they were like, "Look, we're better than this," or whatever, and that turned their season around. But we didn't. That
got out because it got. Oh, you said it did it? We didn't hear about it.
We didn't hear about the meeting afterwards. The Celtics won. I didn't. I don't know. Did you?
I thought there was some story about them having some kind of turmoil, and there was a little bit of a meeting.
Oh,
because they started off rough. I think Ime kind of pulled everybody to the side. He came at Marcus Smart and them, and then they started to turn it around. I think that's how it went. I'd have to Google it.
Yeah, we'll have to Google that. But that's a key. That's an example of a team meeting. I think that was a team meeting, not necessarily players only one, but that worked. It definitely did work.
Okay.
Let's say we're gonna come. All right, tonight we're gonna win.
Are we going to win tonight? I think if we are going to win, you put me between a rock and a hard place because I want them to win. Honestly, it's tough to watch us play the way we've played recently. But you look at the Jazz and how they've been playing, and they came out and were a lot better to start the season than most people expected. And I think that they can go out there and definitely win this game. They're playing a lot better than we have. So I don't think the Knicks win this game, but me personally, I'm going fingers crossed, hoping we do pull this one out somehow, find a way.
I mean, yes. I mean, actually, the three of us. Georgia sent the tweet out. Okay, the three of us. Keith, JD, and I, we don't root for losses. It's impossible for us. There's no way we're going to root for a loss. It's just not in our DNA. But, whether analyzing it or not is one thing or another. I'm hoping for a win tonight. I'm hoping that the players-only meeting did straighten some things out and that Julius was held accountable. He held himself accountable, and then it actually is demonstrated out on the court. Because if that happens, and that's a very positive thing, then maybe we steal this game tonight and then go into Denver tomorrow, which is tough. It's a higher altitude, but they're very close by. It's just a short little flight. And then we can steal tomorrow's game and get this road trip off to a 2-0 start. That is their best case scenario, obviously, for the first two games. But as you can see here, the Jazz, they lost to the Sixers, but that was Embiid losing his mind. Right? Isn't that the game where Embiid scored
59?
50, 100,000 points? What did he score? 59 or something?
He said, I think he scored more points than, what's his name? Ben Simmons, who scored all season.
Oh, whoa. They lost to the Wizards, but that was a nice game for. Speaking of KP actually had an excellent game against the Jazz. See, the Jazz had a back-to-back against the Sixers, so that kind of hurt them a little more. They beat the Hawks in Atlanta, which we couldn't do. They beat the Lakers, which means nothing anymore. They beat the Clippers in another back. They've had two back-to-back games. They beat the Clippers, which does mean something. So, I mean, the Jazz are playing fantastic basketball. And look at our two wins. The Timberwolves, who are in total disarray and didn't have Rudy Gobert in that game. And then we barely beat the Pistons. This could have easily have been 5 L's right there. Yikes. Lauri Markkanen. Who would have thought?
Going crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I said they had a solid deal when the Jazz made that trade. I thought Lauri, Sexton would be solid pieces, solid contributors.
Hey, it's crazy. Sometimes you give a player a chance and they perform. Something we've been asking about for Obi for
crazy
years.
Concept, right?
Crazy concept. Yeah. All right, so let's say we get lucky. 2-0 there. Then we have Warriors on Friday. I feel like it's going to be tough.
Mm-hmm.
They have Phoenix. That's going to be tough too.
Yeah, you try to hope you can get that win against the Nuggets without Jokic and then Thunder. See if you can get some payback. But George, I shared the tweet that JD was talking about.
Yeah, I see it here. Okay. Which one? You shared it with me? Oh, yeah, here it is.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. 9-man rotation in play tonight in Utah. As Steve Popper just tweeted, Knicks starters are Brunson, Reddish, Barrett, Randle, Hartenstein, Rose, Quickly, Toppin, and Sims. Could be the others. Couldn't see Knicks going without a conventional backup 5. So no Grimes.
And no Fournier.
No Fournier. This could be the final.
Which isn't alarming, but no Grimes is kind of alarming. I mean, is it
Grimes
related or just performance?
Didn't say anything here. Ian tweet. This was a retweet from an Ian post here. Something to keep an eye on recently. Knicks have considered shortening their rotation. Club has mostly gone with a 10-man rotation. Actually, someone else tweeted about that too. Our guy Wilson Chandler.
Oh yeah, he got the scoop.
He tweeted out. Yeah, he tweeted out. Where was it? Should Ian put it? Anyway, he said Toppin and Grimes got to play more. Knicks rotations too long. Too much. Here it is. Once the Knicks, always the Knicks. Here, Wilson Chandler tweeted this out. Knicks need to find more time for Toppin and Grimes. Rotation too big. So that's the trim it down to 9.
Basically, aka sit Fournier's ass.
Sit Fournier's ass. Exactly. Fournier was given a chance. The only thing positive that may have come out of him playing that entire fourth quarter is that we may not see Fournier for a while until he gets it together. Because he's not as bad as he's been offensively. We know that. The guy made the 4th most 3-pointers all last season. That doesn't just go away. It doesn't disappear.
And he shattered our franchise record in the season.
It shattered our franchise record. Exactly. So that's got to return. I think he's too much in his head. He also could be a little spent, a little tired. I mean, the guy played the Olympics. He played all last year. Then he played Eurobasket, or whatever they call it. He's been playing nonstop. He could just be also have some tired legs, and that impacts shooting more than anything, actually. So that's interesting. That's very interesting. All right, let's go to the end of the show because the game is going to start, and it's already starting late enough for my East Coast brothers and sisters in New York and all over the world. We have people who watch the show from everywhere.
Yes, sir.
From the Philippines, Germany, Brazil, all over the place. We still got 128 in the chat. Thank you guys for joining us, man. Hit that thumbs up button for us. Definitely appreciate that.
Smash that.
Yeah. Hey, Quis, any last final thoughts?
I mean, let's go Knicks. Like you said, we hope we win, but if we do, end up losing, I hope it's not for no reason. If we lose, let the front office or even James Dolan see that changes need to be made, and then make the requisite changes. If it's changing the head coach, make the change. If it's shifting around the roster, go ahead and do that. And if you got to do something drastic like relieving the front office of their duties, I think that should be on the table as well. Because I think if you look at what the front office has done with roster construction, we're pretty much tied into a lot of these guys for long-term deals. So if the direction of this franchise is one that the owner doesn't like, then I think now would be a good time to try and start all over. Clean house, and then let's see if we can get off some of these deals and continue to build with the vast amount of draft picks we do still have.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. I think, and I brought this up in the recap the other day. The way I see the major issue is that Leon's been building a team to satisfy Thibs' needs. And unfortunately, that means that that's his certain style of play. And that style of play may be outdated. It is outdated. Just be realistic. So it's time to make a move off of that. And if doing that requires you to attach some assets to a Julius Randle and get him somewhere else, that could be what saves your job, Leon, and Thibs' job. Even if you don't, if you come back 2-3 or 3-2, it doesn't mean you still can't do this. This issue that we're talking about here is not going to go away. It's going to keep coming back. It's going to circle back. We're going to keep having these issues. Randle doesn't fit with RJ Barrett is really the bottom line on the court. He doesn't fit with him. And I'm not giving up on RJ. He's 22, and I think he actually has a higher upside than Randle does. And if he doesn't, let's find that out. Let's give him the team. We already know what Randle is. Let's find Randle a home. There's been talk about Miami Heat needing him. The Suns still need a power forward. Even the Lakers. I know the Lakers, poo-pooed that idea back in August, but maybe they have a different feeling about it now.
Look at that record now.
Exactly. Also, look, hey, send them that tweet of Julius's past 5 games. Yeah. I just sent that to Genie Bus.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, bring Randle back to LA. Bring
where
him
it
back
all
here.
started.
Yeah. I really think
that whole highlight reel would be a good story for the city of LA.
Yeah. And who knows? Maybe they start playing better. They make it to past the first round. They even get into the playoffs. That would be a miracle for them. But if he does all that, he'll feel good about himself or whatever. We all know that'll all be fool's gold. But at least he won't be our fool's gold anymore.
Mm-hmm. It won't be our problem.
Exactly. And I would love to just give us a couple of role players, a pick, even just a pick.
I'll pick. I want that 2027. Bare minimum.
Yeah, 2027. That's fine. I would gladly give up a protected 2023 attached to get and also get back an unprotected 2027 pick. Something like that. Maybe we give up 2. We have 3 picks this draft coming up.
We have ours, we have the Mavs, and who's the third one? Charlotte?
Yes. I think so. Actually, I'm not hundy on that, but yeah, I think so. I think the game is going to start pretty soon.
Well, it's a national game. They usually start on time when it's national. Am I throwing shade? And I got nerve, right?
Oh man,
my Sunday stream starts 6-ish for a reason.
All right, I think my voice is giving out. There's like a weird cold flu thing going around, guys. I hope you guys don't catch it. Wash your hands, get your shots if you haven't gotten your flu shot. I didn't do it, and look at this. Now I got to hear my dad tell me every day, "Did you get your flu shot?" And then I got taken down.
My mom asked me the same thing every day, and I say no.
Oh, okay. Lex says they're announcing lineups. Okay, cool.
All right, cool.
All right, man. Well, it was a great stream. Thanks everybody for joining us, man.
Yep, we appreciate you guys tuning in. We really appreciate the support. You said there was how many in chat right now? 120?
Right now. You got yeah. Go. Now we're at 107. Let's go, man. It'd be nice, man. Because I hate all the negativity and everything, and it would definitely be nice to get a
W.
tonight.
And even if like I said, if we're losing, it's understandable if we're losing with a purpose. We're losing because we're competitive, but we're seeing some of these young guys develop, and at least we're able to make accurate assessments of what their career trajectory will be. That way we can make educated decisions and either ship them out of town if they're not going to fit here, or develop them and make them core pieces. But we really can't do that because we don't really know what they are. We see Obi, he's getting better with his jump shot. We see he's more efficient from the field. But is that going to carry over with volume? We don't really know because he's stuck behind Julius Randle, and Thibs only plays him 14, 15 minutes a game. So it's really a tough spot to be in for Knicks fans.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes down to it, if we have another game, let's say today, Randall's stinking it up still on the defensive end, and Obi's having one of his, excellent games. If you keep Obi on the bench in that fourth quarter, I'm going to lose my mind.
It should be relieved in between quarters.
Yeah, exactly. Here's one thing I was going to bring up earlier. Remember, I was thinking, there was something. Why don't we ever play zone? They use it against us. Why don't we play zone defense? Why did OKC, who is not?
Well, we already got problems giving up 3-point shots. We go zone, it's going to make the issue
I know,
worse.
But then at least you're not having the defense collapse. If someone slips through and gets in there, they get it. But you still got people out on the perimeter to deal with your 3-point shooters, and if they beat you, they beat you. But we never do that. They do it against us, and we really shouldn't be this poor 3-point shooting team.
Yeah, it's shocking, especially when you got guys like Fournier. You thought RG was turning the corner. I mean, but then again, you look at it. It's you would think this team would maybe have some trouble shooting, because initially coming into the season, they was saying that there were concerns about the shooting. Julius Randle, he's never been a real consistent knockdown 3-point shooter. That come and goes. There were some concerns with Jalen Brunson. I know he was a pretty efficient 3-point shooter, but there were some questions because it wasn't exactly high volume. And Grimes was injured to start, so he's just getting into a rhythm. Cam, I know his efficiency numbers have been pretty solid, but he's kind of iffy. So the fact that we are having some issues knocking down the 3 is something that I think is not out of left field, but I think is out of left field is how some of these guys have been shooting individually, like Emmanuel Quickly. His efficiency, that completely took me by surprise. Maybe not the field goal per se, even though he came into the season saying he wanted to get it up over 40, but the 3-point shooting and the free throw has really been kind of alarming, but hopefully he can turn it around.
The other bright spot from the OKC game was also Quickly. He had a nice game. It'd be nice if that was like the beginning of something for him offensively. His defense has been superb, especially for a combo guard like him, his size. Yeah, absolutely agree with all that. All right, thank you guys for watching this. My name is George. This is Quis. We're into the Knicks-Verse and Sports Vibes TV. Please subscribe to our channels if you haven't yet. Hit the thumbs up buttons for us. Drop your comments. I love reading the comments. Even later on, if you guys think of something, definitely drop it in. And we will see you around the Knicks-Verse.